This video is brought to you by Epidemic Sound. So I'm really liking the interior of this this old Ford F-100 pickup truck here, because we have this great seafoam dashboard and metal paneling around the inside. This old giant speedometer, circular speedometer here, and there's some old cobwebs, and the seat is kind of torn here with this plaid texture underneath. Up here on the ceiling, there's actually a hole, a little sunroof up here on the top roof, and the light right now, it's right about 1 o'clock right now, so the sun is fairly high in the sky right now, and it's coming down and it's illuminating this panel here, and it's also bringing some light through this hole in the roof, which is illuminating the seat here in front of me, and the panel of the door directly in front of the camera over there. So this is not really a macro shot. This is more of like more of a wide angle image in order to get the dash and the seat and the roof up here all together. So going to give this a shot. So one of the challenging things I have found of photographing this place is the lack of color, because right now it's February and all of these leaves and pine needles have fallen off the trees from up above, and they're all dead and brown, and you have this like brown color on top of like rusted out cars like these over here. And so it's essentially like brown on top of brown. So there's not a lot of visual contrast, not a lot of color contrast, and the images just look a little dull, because everywhere you look, it's just basically brown and various shades of beige in every direction. So in my explorations around here, I'm looking for like anything like this, anything that has like a really nice contrast in color, especially this over here on the inside of the door frame. This wonderful like mid-century 1950s cyan, blue, green kind of color really wonderful. And it's actually, like directly opposite the color wheel, of course, too, from all this brown and tan and the warm tones. So a mix of the cool tones and the warm tones together, and which could either be the pine needles, or there's some rust inside of the vehicle here as well, and that provides a really nice color contrast. And so really it's just a game of exploration and just looking around for any interesting color or textures or anything that really stands out in order to give the image some visual interest. So here's another really good example of what I'm talking about with color. This wonderful patina that's on the outside of whatever this is. This is? Oh, the door works. This is an old Buick Special, some old American chunks of glass here. Some old American Buick from, I would guess, maybe the late 50s, maybe like early 60s, something like that. But anyway, this color, this mix of the cyan blue, which I would assume this used to be kind of like a minty blue color originally, and then you have all this rust that is kind of blended into the cyan and all mixed together to create these really wonderful patterns and textures on the outside of the metal frame here. And then the inside has some turquoise paneling inside that you can see. A lot of, you could definitely tell that I think some mice have probably been in here and have probably torn it up a pretty good bit. It's very dusty. It's very gross on the inside. I definitely would not want to climb inside of this thing, but from the outside, it's beautiful and just really, really great color. Even though these cars are dead and long gone, you can still feel some of the like the spirit of the car, I think, like the soul of the car. If you kind of, spend some time with it, you begin to see like some little glimmers of life, despite their condition, despite the fact that they're all rusted and dirty and there's, mice nests probably all throughout this thing. I don't really view them as cars anymore, if that makes sense. Like they're, because they've been battered and they've been bruised and they've just been torn up so much and have fallen apart so much that now they're kind of, there's something else. It's almost like they've evolved into something else or devolved into something else besides what they originally were. So for me, photographically, like I'm looking for those little, glimmers of life in them with the paint color and the textures and the instrument panels and the steering wheels, and especially these interiors too, which I just love. Man, this place just feels like it just keeps going on and on and on, and there's just more cars and more cars and more cars all the time. And it just feels like it's endless. It just seems to continue going on and on in every direction with cars, cars and more cars everywhere you look. I mean, there must be at least a few thousand out here underneath these trees. It's just amazing. Well, it would appear that I've stumbled into the foreign car section, or at least the non-American car section of this junkyard here, because the vast majority of cars here, like 95% at least, are like mid-century American cars. But there are a few different types of cars here from elsewhere. Like there's a couple of Fiats. There's a MG there. You may not be able to see that. The Volkswagen. There's an old boxy Toyota right here that's Oh, that's really awesome. I just like old boxy Japanese cars. I wonder if this door will open. Yes, awesome. Oh God, man. It smells horrible. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's just all full of mildew. Oh, it just smells awful. But man, what a shame. I love these old Toyotas. These are really cool. Really weird interior inside of this one. Everything has this really kind of like milky green kind of hue to it. The light that is coming in and hitting the dashboard here. I think it's because the glass on the other side of the car over there on the driver's side is so caked over with mildew and just dirt and everything else that the sunlight that's coming through is just turning everything like this, like really kind of toxic looking like light green color, and it's giving it like a really interesting hue and look inside of here. And of course there's all kinds of cobwebs and everything. Let me take this thing off. And really nice looking interior inside of here.
Hey again, it's me, but this time in the future after editing the video that you just watched. For the remainder of this video, I want to take you behind the scenes and share with you some of the creative decision making and some of the technical work that went into editing the music and sound effects that were used in this video. Let's begin here by taking a look at the music. Okay, so here we are in Premiere Pro, and this is the beginning of the video here. Let me just play a few seconds of the music so you remember what it sounded like. Okay, so this track obviously came from Epidemic Sound. This is one that I found there. And generally what I do when I'm producing a video like this, and I know this is a video that I'm going to be working on at some point in the future, I create a new playlist at Epidemic Sound. And then when I have time, like some downtime, I just browse through Epidemic Sound on their website. And by the way, they have a mobile app as well. And I just look around for music that would feel like creatively in the wheelhouse of the video and of the subject matter. And so in the case of this video here, like I knew it was all going to be, mid-century American cars, like from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. That would evoke things like Motown and soul and R&B. And eventually by the time I, get back from something like this and I have, all my video, I have a playlist of tracks that I can immediately begin working with. So the beginning of the video is using the fully mixed track, which is this one right here. But then later on, I actually break it apart. And this is one of the cool things about Epidemic Sound is that not only do you get the fully mixed track, but you also have access to the stems. You have access to the individual pieces, the bass, the drums, the vocals, the instruments, the melody, whatever else went into the song. They're all saved as separate files, and you can download those files and then mix them together yourself. And that's exactly what I did here at this part of the video. So let's just listen to this for a second, and it's going to crossfade from the fully mixed track into the stems. Then later on, then we get to this part here. So creatively, what I was trying to do here was I was trying to create this pause, create this break in the video, a moment where like everything almost felt like it was floating for a moment, like a time in which you were able to space out a little bit. Because when you're looking through the windows of these vehicles, at least this is how I felt when I was out there, when I'm standing there and looking through these windows into these, looking at the dash and the seats and the windows and everything around it, it almost feels like an alternate reality. It feels like a different world, like a time capsule. It feels mysterious. And that was like the feeling that I would get when I was out there. And that's what attracts me to them photographically. So with the music and the video, I was trying to like draw you into those spaces, and to do so required getting rid of that driving beat, because that beat kind of keeps the viewer on a rail, and then you drop back in again with the beat towards the end. I feel like it works pretty well. And actually, let me just show you something else. Let me extend this. This is the guitar track, I think, right here. They call it melody, but it's the guitar. This is what you heard in the video.
So,
okay, let me take this out. Let me delete this so you hear the rest of it.
So I'm really liking.
Yeah, so there was just kind of like this weird, like, little bit of the guitar there that was like, it just felt really out of place and a little weird, especially because it just landed right on top of my dialogue too. And it was just odd. So again, having access to these stems is fantastic because I can include a little bit of the guitar, but then drop it right out where I no longer want it. So really cool stuff. Okay, so this part's gonna be fun. Let's check out some of the sound effects that were used. Just little background things here, and now I'm gonna mute the sound effects, and let's hear it without any audio. So yeah, it's pretty dry. And in case you're wondering, like, why didn't I just record the sounds, naturally? Well, because it's just me out there. Like, there's not another videographer, there's not a sound person there, there's no one helping me out. It's just me with a camera on a tripod. And a lot of times, like when I'm wearing a wireless microphone, like this one here, a lot of times when I'm shooting B-roll, I'll turn the mic off because I want to conserve battery. But even when I have it on, it all kind of sounds like this. It's all kind of boxy because it's like tuned for the voice, and it's not picking up any of the atmosphere or the sounds around me. And even if it did, it wouldn't sound necessarily good either. Yeah, those are the glass steps. So inside of this school bus that you're looking at here, the windows have been broken, and there was all this like shattered glass all over the floorboard of this bus. So I just went to Epidemic Sound, looked it up, footsteps on glass, and there was a ton of options to choose from. And then I just spliced out individual parts to sync with my footsteps. A lot of times sound effects are recorded like with the mic, right up next to whatever it is that's being recorded in order to get, the best fidelity and the best sound. But it sounds, when you listen to the sound effect, it sounds like glass is just kind of like crinkling right here next to your ear, and it totally sounds wrong. And like it's way too pronounced. It's way too clear. Reverb really helps take some of that edge off and makes it sound more natural. And because this was inside of an enclosed space inside of this bus, I used room reverb, and I think I had this down like pretty low, like somewhere around like maybe 1, something like that. And usually with the levels, like I set the volume to, like how like strong my footstep like appeared to be, obviously louder for a heavier step and lighter for a lighter step, and try to make it sound more natural. Okay, so here's another one here. These are just footsteps on leaves. Okay, so this part here with the Buick Special, you may remember, let's listen to this one more time.
So here's another really good example of what I'm talking about with color. This wonderful patina that's on the outside of whatever this is. This is, oh, the door works. This is an old...
Okay, then there's this part here.
Some old American chunks of glass here.
Okay, so similar to the bus from earlier, some footsteps on the ground here. And then this part here, I actually lucked out. I found some sound effects at Epidemic Sound that was like a hand touching like a metal door, a metal car door, and it sounded absolutely perfect. Really simple. Then there's another part here. There's the creaking door.
Oh, the door works. This is an old...
That was just a sound effect of like a rusted hinge on a door.
Some old American...
Yeah, there's a moment where, let me just back it up there a little bit. There's a moment where a piece of glass falls in the window. See it right there? That was totally random. Sometimes when you're looking for a sound effect, the perfect one does not exist. Like, I lucked out earlier with the hand tapping on the door because I found the actual sound effect for that. But sometimes, kind of like the world of Foley and motion pictures, you have to find things that are tangentially related to what it is that you're looking for. Well, with this, the door panel on that Buick was totally rusted. It was, the metal was pitted, and when I was moving my hand across it, it had this really gritty kind of sharp texture on it. And I wanted like a little bit of that in the background, just to, give you the feeling of what it felt like to actually be touching that door. And I found some sound effects of sandpaper scrapes. And so I just, downloaded sandpaper and clipped out the little parts that worked and then dropped them in. And that's it. So every time my hand just kind of moves across, just, blended it in and mixed it in with everything else. And then it, hopefully it wasn't something that you noticed, but it was definitely there in the background. Okay, so throughout this video, plenty more sound effects just like those that I sprinkled in little moments here and there just to, kind of heighten the experience of the video and increase the realism of it, and hopefully like draw the viewer closer into the world. So the viewer isn't just simply looking at images and video and they feel closer to it. They feel like they're actually there. And this combination of music and sound effects can do wonders with like even the most basic, boring, average footage, which honestly is pretty much what I create because I am not a professional videographer or filmmaker. I mean, I create videos here on my channel, here on YouTube, in service to photography. Photography is really the thing that I'm most passionate about. But I enjoy the creative challenge of making videos like these, in order to, not just share photos, but to also share the experience of being there and share, what it is that I'm feeling and what it is that I'm sensing and what it is that, what draws me to that particular place, and hopefully communicate some of that experience and some of what it is that I'm feeling to you through music and sound effects and editing and everything else. And fortunately, there is a resource like Epidemic Sound for people like me who don't have sound people, who don't have a videographer, and who provide the assets in order to make something better than what it otherwise would be. And the cool thing about Epidemic Sound is that you don't have to worry about licensing. You don't have to worry about copyright strikes. You don't have to worry about, am I going to get in trouble with YouTube or someone else if I upload this video to YouTube because it contains, this sound effect in it, or, this piece of music. With Epidemic Sound, you just pay like a monthly subscription and you get access to a huge library of content that is fully licensed, and you can use it in your own video content and post it online without worrying about it. Also down below, I will link to a couple of playlists that I've put together at Epidemic Sound. One was for this video containing some songs I use and a bunch of others that I didn't get to. And I'm also going to link to my favorites. I've been putting together a collection of favorite music tracks, some that I have used in videos, some that I've yet to use. Just cool stuff that I found at Epidemic Sound if you're looking for some tracks to get started with and maybe be inspired by. So check out both of those playlist links down below. Thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video, and I will see you next time.